I've had my Tesla Cybertruck for almost a year and a half now, and the one feature that I'm a bit disappointed in that it did not come with is white seats. If you've been subscribed to me for a while, you know that I love my white seats. I can't live without them, so I was a bit sad that the Cybertruck didn't come with them. And you may be confused because you're like, well, Matt, on Tesla's website, it says white decor. That means white seats, right? Wrong. Nope, that additional $2,000 option for white decor does not include the seats. They are still black. But what you are getting for that $2,000 is just white panels. And we can argue about this all day, but in my opinion, $2,000 for just a few white panels is not worth it, in my opinion. So for me, I decided to do something about it. Cybergear sent me these nice white Cybertruck seat covers, and today I'm kind of gonna give you, I guess, overall just kind of a quick and dirty install. It's not going to be a full-on installation video because if you don't notice, the seat cover's already on, and I'm not going to take them off just to put them back on for a video because this task is not for the weak. This requires patience and it requires time, because the more patient you are installing these seat covers, I guess, the better they're going to look. So I'm just going to kind of outline that a little bit. And then at the end, I'm going to give you one crucial step you need to do to keep these seat covers looking their best. But without further ado, let's get started. So before we even get started on installing the seat covers, I'm just going to kind of outlay everything that came with the kit. And I'm going to give you a little bit of tips and tricks of the trade so that these seat covers go on a little bit easier for you than they did for me. So starting out, you're going to get this little bag that comes with a bunch of these plastic clips as well as these metal clips, which I'll kind of show you how to put those on here in a sec. It does come with these cheap pair of white gloves, which I highly recommend wearing these, because I don't know if you can tell, these things are filthy. And you don't want all that dirt and everything going on like to your brand new white seat covers, because that's just going to be more you're going to have to clean here at the end. It does come with this plastic pry piece as well. You're going to have to use this to kind of spread the seat apart just to get some of those clips in there. But the one thing that doesn't come with it is this rag. I highly recommend you use a rag for this pry bar. And the reason for that is, so when you're trying to use this and pry like your seats apart and all that, I'm not gonna lie, like this can get pretty sharp. Actually, this kind of dug through my hand a couple of times. So what I did is I would just kind of wrap my rag around this a couple of times just so I could insert it and turn it. And that made it much easier for me. But to get started here, first thing we're gonna start with these black plastic clips and how they go on here. So these are an old set of seat covers that I had. It makes it much easier to explain how to install these and all that. So first thing you're going to do is take your plastic piece right here. You're going to start from the bottom and you're going to just insert this right here and then insert it through the other side. And basically that's it. There are 3 of them, so you're going to have to do this for all 3 of these. And basically that's done. And then we do have these little metal clips here as well, which I have that on the other one. I'll show you how to install that, but we'll kind of lay that off to the side. And then next we have our bottom seat cushion. And as you'll notice, there's not a metal clip here. So I'm going to show you kind of how to install this. You need to install this a very specific way just so it can actually install a lot easier. So I'm dropping everything on the floor. So just imagine that this is actually sitting on your seat. So what you're going to want to do is install your little clip here. So basically, so that these face down, because what you're going to do is feed this through the side of the seat, and then you're going to have to clip it underneath the seat. And you don't want it facing this way because you're going to have to turn it around and do all sorts of craziness, and it may just not go on right. So to install this, what you're going to do here is you're going to feed this right through the little loop here. So you got a little bit of slack. And then next, you're going to kind of loop it through here and then pull tight. And boom, there you go. That's it. You'll do it for this side, and you'll basically do it for all of them. Because once we get the seat the seat cover nice and installed, pulled nice and tightly, then you're gonna have to feed like all these through and all that, and then you're gonna have to clip these to the underside of the seat. Something to keep in mind as well is these will come, fully done like this. All you have to do is just take these out and then just kind of set them off to the side, because you're gonna have to feed those through the back of the seat. But basically that's it. We'll go out to the truck and I'll kind of give you a quick and dirty on how these things go on. This seat cover kit comes with enough cover so that you're able to cover both the driver's seat as well as the passenger seat, enough for all of the rear seats as well as the center console here. And there's two questions that I've gotten since I've owned these. And the big question is like, well, Matt, what about my cooled seats? Am I going to lose my heated and cooled seat feature with these seat covers? And the answer is no. So especially with the cooled seats, you are still able to feel the cooling coming through the seat covers, but it's going to be a little bit degraded. You're not going to get that full feeling that you're used to with, having just a bare Cybertruck seat. So do keep that in mind. I've used these all last summer and they work just fine for me. You can still definitely feel them. And then the next question I get is, well, what about the airbags? If the airbags go off, how is that going to work with these seat covers? But don't worry, they got you covered there. There actually are these little slits on each side of the seats, and if for some reason, heaven forbid, the airbag were to deploy, airbags would actually just go right through those little slits and you would still be kept safe. So now that we've put everything on, we're actually now ready to install. First thing we're going to start with is our driver's side, the bottom cushion. You'll want to do that for both sides. Start with the bottom cushion first and then move on to the seat rest. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to take these two straps, and what you're going to want to do is actually feed them through the under part of the seat all the way to the back. And then what you want to do is climb into the back seat and pull these as tight as you can. Keep in mind, this task of installing these is basically going to be from going to the front seat to the back seat constantly. It becomes quite a job. But after you've done that, what you're going to want to do next is you're going to want to feed this back portion of the seat cover underneath the back piece here. And what you're going, like the overall goal is you want as little of this showing as possible. A little bit is okay, but you don't want it to be kind of cockeyed as well. Make sure it's as straight as possible, because if not, this is actually going to make the seat cover look really wrinkly, and we don't want that here. So once you've fed this all through, you have as little showing as possible. Like I said, I've done that here with mine on my version 2 seat covers, and they do look a lot better. And I would say make one more round in the back after you've done that, and make sure you tighten these as much as possible, just so that we want them to, kind of stay in place back there. And then next is you're going to basically tuck in each of the side pieces on in between the seats. And that's kind of where our little pry bar comes into play. Like I said, you're going to want like a rag, because if not, all you have is this, and it can end up getting pretty sharp, and it's not going to pierce through your hand, but it is going to hurt a little bit. So that's why I decided to just use a rag and do this. And basically what you're going to want to do is, like when you install your seat, you're just going to want to make sure you just kind of push everything through. But do be careful though. When you are using this pry tool, be careful about it getting stuck right here. I've done this with my previous seat covers, is I actually tore this a little bit. So do be careful when you're doing this. And what you're also going to want to do is, when you're going to want to kind of pry these off to the side here, and you're going to want to feed these metal clasps through into the bottom of the seat. And then that's where you'll have to climb into the back and verify that the clasp actually made its way through. Because, folks, the driver's seat butt cushion is the biggest pain. This one took me the longest. So once you get done with this one, the rest of them are easy, particularly this one right here. So the seat belt is in the way, which also becomes quite a bit of a pain, but there's actually a big metal bar that's right there on the bottom. And if you don't position this clasp right here correctly, it's actually going to get caught on that. And then you're not going to be able to pry it out. I think I spent a good solid hour trying to pry it back out because I messed it up. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to take your little pry bar and you want to place it in there. And then you're going to actually want to twist it. You may get a little bit of resistance, but that's okay. But you're going to want to twist it and then take some sort of flashlight. I used the flashlight from my phone, and shine some light through there and see if you can see through to the bottom. And you actually will see that little bar that I was talking about that will get in the way. So once you see all that open space, then that's where you can actually feed this little clip and all that through. It should be right near the seatbelt, like towards a 45-degree angle going towards the back. You'll have not one. Oh, if I can do this, you'll actually have a couple on this side. This one actually kind of ripped off, I guess. But yeah, really once you did that, once you have all of your clasps through and everything like that, then you can proceed to actually hook them through the bottom. I'm trying to show a little video here of how that's done. I know it's kind of poor quality, but there are these little metal pieces that are underneath the seat and all that. It's almost like a spring, so to speak. And then you can just hook those clasps and all that right there. And then once everything is all hooked in, you can then take these little other pieces right here, feed them through, and you can tighten everything as tight as you possibly can. And then once this is all installed, you can actually look at everything, make sure the seat cover and all that looks good. You want to make sure that nothing is kind of poking out on the sides. And if there is, I just kind of slowly just kind of tuck a little bit and just make sure everything looks good and make sure the seat cover looks its best. And then really when you're done, that's what the bottom seat cover and everything will look like. But then after that, we're not done, of course, because that's just one. And then we still have the back seat cover to do, which that one's easy. That's not really hard at all. Once you get this piece on, oh, this is going to be a breeze. But now that we have our back seat cover, of course, the first thing you're going to want to do is unzip it. Please unzip it, because if not, it's not going to go on there. Or if you can get it on there with it zipped, I would be very impressed. So, but basically what you're going to do, simply, it just slides right over the seat. That's all you got to do. And of course, we do want to make sure that all of these little clips and all that are facing this way, just so that when you clip it down, it will work just fine. But next, how this is going to work basically is these three clips that are right here. What you're going to want to do, these will actually be on this side. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to feed those underneath your seat until they're around the back. And then next thing you'll do is, of course, you'll climb into the back seat and you'll actually pull all three of those through, and then you'll rotate them so that they're flush right against the back of the seat so that they actually stay there. And then really once you get all three of those through, then next you'll take these two little clips right here, and then once again you'll clip them right under the seat. And then really the final step is you zip it. Zip it so that it's completely done, and then that's it. You have one seat down, and you did the most difficult seat. Really, once you do this, like I said, the other one is going to be so much simpler to do. But then, once again, I did mention, once you are done with all of these, like I said, we got all of our seat covers and everything installed. We got our center console cover installed. But next is, how do you keep them nice? I made that mistake with my first set of seat covers, and the answer is ceramic coating. I did it on my previous Model Y white seats. I chose not to do it to these. I really don't know why. I should have. I think because I was under that mindset like, they're just seat covers. How bad could they possibly get? I was mistaken, because these old seat covers, while you may not notice, they're pretty stained, and there's only so much I can do to actually keep them clean. So that's why when I got these replacements in, the first thing I did was clean these and ceramic coat these. So I'm going to show you how. So now that we've got our seat covers all installed, now it is time to clean them and ceramic coat them. These are the two most important steps to make sure your seats look their best for longer. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to clean them. And I have used this cleaning product by Car Guys. It's Car Guys Super Cleaner. I've used it on every Tesla I've owned, and it has never let me down. So I do highly recommend it. So the first thing to clean your seats, what you want to do is just spray a little bit of material, or some of the cleaner into the rag, and then you're going to just want to clean your seats and make sure that they are nice and clean and nice and bright before you apply ceramic coating. Because, folks, if you apply ceramic coating to stained seats, those stains will be permanently in the seats. You will not be able to get them out. So do keep that in mind. So speaking of ceramic coating, this is the stuff. This is the GOAT. This is what I have used on my Model Y white seats. I've used these on these new seats, and I swear by this stuff. It's called Q2 Leather Shield. I found it on Amazon for like 50 bucks, and it is amazing. It's going to come with, if we can open the box here, the applicator, the solution itself, as well as a couple of these rags, these small little rags, just in case there is any residual. But basically what you want to do is, like I said, clean your seats. Once they're clean, once they're dry and all that, you're going to actually apply, they say, a generous amount of the solution onto this applicator. And all you're literally going to do is just just run through it like over the seat. And that's all you want to do. You will see a little bit of a shiny effect on here, but don't worry, that's perfectly normal. Actually, it makes it a lot easier to actually notice where you have and haven't applied the solution. And Once again, if you did apply a little too much, if you were too generous with it, because you got to be careful, because if you've applied too much, you'll actually see it start to run down the seats, and you don't want that. So if you did, just take one of these rags and just simply just wipe it and just kind of spread it evenly throughout the seat. And then they say give it about 6 hours to dry, to do all that. Like, don't be having no raves, no parties in here. And really, once it's dried, that's it. You may apply it once a year if you want. On my last Model Y that I had for 2 years, I applied it once, and my seats still looked brand new, as if the day I bought them. But really, folks, that's it. I've went through, kind of a quick and dirty install process. Like I said, I apologize in advance that I didn't do a full-on install, just because these were already on here, and taking these off and putting them back on is a chore. And when you install these, you'll know exactly what I mean. But we've talked about installation, we've talked about cleaning the seats, and we've talked about ceramic coating them to keep them their best. But once again, if you have any other questions, anything at all, drop them in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them as quick as I can. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it educational. If you did, hit that thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, haven't yet subscribed and want to, please feel free, hit the subscribe button over there, wherever the heck it is. It would help me out a ton. But hope you enjoy the rest of your day. See you.